Ladies and gentlemen, May the 4th be with you. For this is the Fred the Alien Productions podcast.
Ooh, it is 4th.
It is.
Yeah, it's the day. It's the nerd national holiday. Galactic holiday, should we say?
Let's go.
Ooh. Fulya's got an actual Galaxy's Edge lightsaber, ladies and gentlemen, for those who can't see it.
Hand built by me.
Hand built.
Yes.
Ah.
And if you're
So
in
good.
Australia, the Empire has won.
Has it though?
I don't know. To certain people.
Okay, we're not certain people. Let's cue the music, shall we?
We shall do that.
I don't know what we're yelling about! We came, we saw, we kicked its ass!
Wait a minute. Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me you built a time machine? Kind of a DeLorean?
The way I see it, if you're gonna build a time machine into a car, why not do it some style?
Who is this? What's your operating number?
Boring conversation anyway.
Whoa, we're gonna have company! Loud noises!
Hello.
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 What's that? That was really weird. Okay, I'm a Kendall Richardson.
I'm a Fulya, can't tell much.
And I'm just going to blame it on Discord not knowing what sound is sound, Michael Lister.
Ah. You are now experiencing a podcast called Fred.
Yes, experiencing it through the mediums of Star Wars, something but Star Wars, anything but Star Wars. Celebrations start in another 12 hours overseas, so we're not going to get it until the 5th. Revenge of the 5th.
Revenge
Yeah,
of the
exactly.
5th. Ooh. Yep. Yes, it's the time of the week, and we've got a very different kind of show in store for you guys today. And by very different, I mean slightly different from last week, which was slightly different from our normal show anyway. So it's going to be a good time. We've got a lot of really cool things to talk about.
Yeah.
So
It's
Let's-
gonna be May.
it's going to be May. Let's start the show with our weekly watchings. Fulya, what have you been watching this week?
So, continue my watch through. I've caught up with Last of Us episode 3. Watch that. Yeah.
Yeah.
mm.
Yeah.
Interesting episode. But in contrast to that, I ended up coming across the making of The Last of Us, and I ended up watching the behind the scenes on how it all sort of came to fruition, the way they were filming everything, and interviews with the cast and the crew. So for season 1, they did a complete overall episode of the making of The Last of Us. But for season 2, they're doing per episode, which is pretty cool. And so I ended up. I'm glad I watched the main episode first before I came across this,
Yeah.
and then I went back to watch the makings. And yeah, it was really fascinating to sort of learn about all that sort of stuff, and then especially the episodes that some of the casts were kind of looking forward to doing, and especially with some of the casts that had no idea how much this game meant to people, and so bringing it to the live action scene, to the TV sort of screen, has had them more excited to play the roles they got to do. So yeah, it was pretty cool, and just learning about how they did a lot of different things in terms of their set production, which is insane, how much detail they put into the sets, and just the amount of dedication that the cast and crew have for the series itself. And Neil Druckmann was also, in the interview process as well. And he just sort of spoke about how he wanted to just like expand on bits and pieces here and there and change things up to make it more suitable for the TV screen and all that sort of thing. So it was really it was a good watch, just to learn about that sort of stuff in general. So yeah, I'm glad I've managed to. I'm glad that that HBO is putting out a making of, because it makes me feel good that this is the stuff that people like. I'm the type of person who loves watching behind the scenes kind of stuff, and that is why I generally gravitate towards getting DVDs and Blu-rays so that I can watch that kind of thing, like deleted scenes and making of and all that sort of thing. So yeah, it's out there. So if you want to go watch it, you can. Just make sure you watch the episode first, because those making of episodes do have spoilers. Just saying. You've been warned.
You've been warned.
And the only other thing I really watched before today's recording is the Food That Made America. I watched an episode in season 3 about Wendy's and how Wendy's became a thing in America. And they are the makers of the square beef patty instead of the round.
Ooh,
They do
controversial.
square. Yeah.
Does it taste different as a square?
No, but it makes it look like you're getting more beef.
Yeah.
That's the reason why they went with the idea of a square, because it looks like it's coming out of the circle bun, and it looks like it's overflowing with more food.
But the catch is the cheese that they use is round.
I don't think so.
I think so. As a person who's never been to Wendy's, that's what I choose to believe.
I think I've been to a Wendy's when I was in Canada, or was it a Dairy Queen? I can't remember. Anyway, yeah, it's definitely interesting. The person who ended up creating Wendy's was a protege of Colonel Sanders, and they ended up doing Wendy's because they weren't getting apparently the new owners of KFC, who bought the rights and the recipes from Colonel Sanders, decided that they were going to go in a different direction in terms of changing the look of the place, the way they package, and the recipe. They were going to change the recipe of the Kentucky Fried Chicken. And so the guy who created Wendy's was like, no, I'm out. This is not how it should be. It's supposed to be, everyone should be the same, for and all that sort of stuff. So he ended up going off and making Wendy's. And yeah, he's a very intelligent person, because he ended up also coming up with the idea of, so he came up with the idea of the square beef patties. He also came up with the idea of, before he left KFC, he was the one who came up with the idea of the bucket, the KFC bucket. And he also came up with the idea of the red and white coloring, like the branding of KFC.
Synonymous.
And so he decided that he will do something similar with Wendy's, but instead of doing Kentucky instead of doing fried chicken, he just decided to do burgers instead.
The beef.
Yeah.
Where's the beef?
Yeah. So that was really interesting to sort of learn. And it started off in Columbus, Ohio. So that was actually really cool to find out. And then they started branching out into more suburban areas, especially areas that that are kind of economically not doing great. So he found it like an opportunity to give people fast food that was still good quality, but was cost effective for them as well. So, and he also came up with the idea of actually making the burgers fresh rather than getting frozen ingredients, which is what a lot of fast food chains do these days. So So he's been making the burgers in house, which is interesting. It costed him a lot more to do that, to make them in house, but he found that if he charges more for it and for quality rather than quantity, that people would still buy it anyway. And they did, and they do. And that's why it's one of the biggest fast food franchises in America. So yeah. So that's pretty much all I've been watching.
That's excellent. Thank you for sharing. I look forward to trying Wendy's if it expands here, because I think it's opened here in Australia.
I don't know. I was going to look into it, and then I completely forgot.
Or maybe
Gold
it's
Coast.
about to open. Yeah, like Gold Coast or Brisbane or something has it.
Actually, there is a Wendy's here in Australia. There's a
Yeah.
Wendy's version of the website, wendyshamburgers.com.au. It has the AU at the end.
I've got a Wendy's near my place. I can get ice cream.
Now, that's a different Wendy's. See, that's the thing, right? They bring Wendy's burgers here, but the Wendy's we know is completely different to the Wendy's they know.
It's like a Burger King, Hungry Jack's sort of situation.
Yeah, a little bit. Almost.
Where are they?
Where's the
I don't
beef?
even know. Like,
Literally.
I'm looking on their website, but it's like coming up really slow. Anyway,
well, Waffle is investigating. Thank you so much. Mike, what about your
Hello.
weekly washings? What have you got for us?
Fair amount, except for the stuff that we're going to talk about. But I too watched the latest Last of Us on the Monday, and then on the Tuesday, I went to the movies.
Ooh.
I went
Cool.
to see Sinners.
Yeah.
I'm hearing so many good things about that movie.
It is a good film.
Yeah, it is.
Overhyped? I think the hype is sort of genuine because
Mhm.
I like the fact that it is just more than just your average vampire film. And I'm not that big into vampires, but I do love how they handled the lore with this. I mean,
Yeah.
it's sort of the same. Can't enter unless they've been invited, that sort of thing. But the way they actually portray them as well is very intriguing to me. Where they do the sort of what do you call them? It's like the lights of their eyes sort of thing. So filming that would be a pain to do just to make it work, but it's very effective. And I love the fact that it's a period piece, but it's also harking into like music as well of the time and how time can transcend from different eras of life. And for some reason, I got in the back of my head bit of a stupid thing to think of, but this would be great as a musical. I don't know why. That the music in it is so pitiful, like a principle, like sort of latching on to in the story. Like you can sort of see this being staged, and it will be easy because it's sort of it almost is set up to be like a one-er being part of just one area of the gin joint and how that is. But I did enjoy it, and the praises are genuine, and it's great, and I'm glad that I actually got the manage to actually watch this, and I did like the dynamic between Michael B. Jordan and Michael B. Jordan, or Michael C. Jordan, as it is. I love how he sort of can interact with himself, and I think huge props for him to actually managing to do that. And yeah, I really enjoyed the story and I love the ending. I had a bit of an emotional response when it came to the ending. It's like, wow, that's amazing. It's you can sort of see how it would actually affect like like the dynamic that I'm not a part of. Like African American culture is definitely all throughout this, and their struggles, and it just makes sense for it to be a very a very black film, as it were. But the intention was warranted and great. Yeah, I watched that, and I went to the movies again. And I saw Thunderbolts. So I went to the movies twice. It's great. and then on Wednesday, same day, I saw Andor all the way up, and then last night, me and the wife decided to sit down and watch a movie that technically haven't really seen, but knew of it. For some reason, we sat down to watch Death Becomes Her, a Robert Zemeckis film from 1992. Because on my social feed, I've been getting a lot. I've been getting a lot of musical stage shows, and quite recently, Death Becomes Her, the musical, is actually out, and I've been getting a lot of stuff from that, and there's a very viral TikTok audio is going around of one of the it's where Goldie Hawn gets shot, but she comes back to life, and in the stage show she comes through the door, goes down center stage, and just goes, "That was rude." That was really fucking rude. And that's just been going on TikTok. It's like, where's this come from? I actually haven't seen this film. It's like, wife, would you like to see this film? It's like, yes, let's go watch it, because we haven't seen it, and we're starting to. And now that The Pit is over, we're trying to find stuff to actually watch together, and that was one of them. It's good. It's probably good at the time, but now watching it, it's very. I don't know. Speaking as a feminist, it's kind of a weird sort of take of the main two protagonists of Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn. It's very vain sort of people, but the only non-vain person is Bruce Willis's character. So it's sort of a weird. It's like, I don't know. So I would be interested in if this comes to Australia, the musical, and how they sort of update the sort of thing and just make it a bit more balanced, and because it definitely has akin to being, aren't women like very obsessed with their looks? It's kind of like it's kind of like The Substance in that respect, but I think The Substance actually works because they actually show like men being vulgar, and because it sort of prolongs that sort of only beauty and only thing it can withstand. It's a weird thing. So I don't know, but the special effects in that is really great for the time.
Yeah.
And just a very prop heavy of what it is, and aesthetically it looks good, and it looks because I do like the Robert Zemeckis sort of at the time going for like the practical effect, and then he just got lazy and did Pinocchio. I was like, no, I didn't like Pinocchio. So yeah, I watched that with the wife, and it was good. Unfortunately, I did fall asleep in a couple of things because it was late, and it was at the same time that I was watching the Australian elections, but we're not allowed to talk about politics, even though I was quite happy at the result. And what about you, Kendall? Did you like the result of the election?
Yes, I did, but I'm not. I have no capability of discussing it, so I'm just going to say yay. yay. We're not leaning the wrong way. Anyway.
We're not following suit.
Funny. We're not following suit. Yes, it's good.
We're like Canada.
My week. Yeah. My weekly watchings. Yes, I will start off by saying I ticked another John Hughes film off the list. I haven't seen all of his films. I've seen a decent amount of them, but I had never watched until this week Uncle Buck.
Oh!
I sat down with the boyfriend and watched it, and I really liked it. I thought it was really good. John Candy's performance in it is wonderful. Really, really wonderful, and it just made me sad that he's no longer with us. I know he's been gone he's been gone for like 30 years now, but it's, you know, this was just a really, like, he's the heart and soul of this movie, and
He's
I love
still
the
present.
fact that they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love the fact that they don't play him, even though he's set up as like the bumbling, stupid, you know, brother of the family, and he's got to now come in and look after the kids and stuff. He's not as bad a fuck up as you expect him to be, and he actually gives a shit, and he's trying, and then, you know, this fucking teenage daughter is just grinding him so bad, and doing some really awful things to him. Like, whoa. Yeah, I like the actress, but I didn't like the character of the teenager. I've forgotten her name already, but yeah, she pissed me off. I was like, well, she's doing a good job then, isn't she? But no, it was a really good movie. I really liked it a lot, and Macaulay Culkin as well in one of his early roles. He doesn't have a lot to do, obviously, but him and the other, like his twin, I'm guessing, the two littler kids, they're very funny. So yeah, it was good. It was a good movie. I liked it. Yeah, and then I guess I'll just talk about The Last of Us, really, because basically everything else I watched we're about to talk about ad nauseum. So yeah. So I didn't expect there to be a time jump again. I mean, it's only 3 months, but I wasn't expecting us to jump forward that far after Joel's passing, and the fact that they kept Ellie in the hospital for that long was interesting. So, because I didn't think her injuries were as severe, but I guess it could also be the psychological trauma that she endured, because, you know, they wouldn't let her out until she spoke to Gale.
You have to also, you know, remember that she did get kicked in the guts a few times.
Oh,
so
no,
internal bleeding or like.
Oh, no,
and a collapsed lung.
Yeah.
This is not like the video
remember,
game where you're straight out the gate. It's like revenge time.
Yeah.
No, I hadn't forgotten that. Thank you, Peanut Gallery. Yes. But yes, it was good. I really liked the quote, like that initial discussion between Gale and Ellie was really good, and I like how Ellie said, you know, because a lot of things that happen in shows like this, there's always this trope of like, you know, oh fuck, we ended on bad terms and now I'll never get a chance to make amends, sort of thing. And I like that Ellie had the maturity to go, well, just because we weren't good at the end doesn't define our entire relationship. But then the heartbreaking thing was then Gale was like, yeah, but sometimes it does. Which also is kind of true for Joel and Ellie in a way. But I thought that was really cool. But yeah, very, very emotional episode. And I also like to see Tommy give it to Ellie and be like, he was my brother, how dare you? You know, like, don't you dare tell me what I know or don't know about my brother. But I like that he didn't attack her for it, I guess. But it was handled really well, I thought. And then I really liked the scene where Ellie goes to visit Joel's grave and puts the coffee beans down. I thought that was a nice callback. That was really sweet. But yeah, things are perilous on the path to Seattle, and they've gotten there, I guess. But I wanted to know more, and I wonder if they'll go into it, or probably not, but about this sort of like cult-like group of people that were walking through the forest, and they all had scars on their faces, and immediately my boyfriend turned to me and goes, you want to know how I got these scars? which was fun. But then yeah, that moment where Ellie and Dina like come upon their bodies, and you see, we've seen the scene with the the little redheaded girl and talking to her dad or whatever, and they're hiding, and then next time you see her, she's dead as fuck, and Dina's face was just like, oh god. So Dina's clearly not really come across a lot of tragedy, I don't think. So I feel like she's probably had a good run of it, but we don't know too much about her past, so I could be wrong. I don't know the rest of the game. I'm going in blind here now, so
Yep,
but
you
yeah.
and me both.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
So I'm really
shit.
weary of spoilers. Yeah, I'm really weary of spoilers now. but hey,
I gotta watch what I say.
Yeah. No, you're fine. You're fine. It's more the internet that I need to.
I
look out
am the
for.
internet.
I am the internet. Yes.
You're talking to me
yes.
through the internet.
I am. Yeah, it was a good episode. So I'm looking forward to seeing, now that they're in Seattle, where things are going to go, and obviously the militia, the Washington,
The Wolves, the
Liberation Front, I think they were.
Yes.
Washington
Yeah.
Liberation Front. The Judean
Yes.
People's Front?
Yeah. Literally stole the words out of my mouth.
Haha.
It's the People's Front of Judea.
Fuck off. Judean People's Front. We're the People's Front of Judea.
So good. All right.
That joke got so much better when I grew up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't get it. I don't get it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I will say the relationship that's building between Ellie and Dina is interesting as well, especially considering that they've gone off on their own because they didn't get the votes from the council at that meeting.
Yeah. Well,
And,
we knew that was going to happen anyway, I think. Yeah.
Like I had this like slight feeling. I was like, surely they're gonna be, they're gonna be on her side and agree, but apparently not. They'd rather not risk it. So
Yeah, but I liked that scene though, because I could, everyone that said something, you can kind of understand, because I didn't even think about it. Like, oh, if they send out 14 of their best, then who's going to defend now that they're at their weakest after the attack by that massive horde? So it's like, okay, I understand where they're coming from, but then at the same time, I loved how Ellie put that spin on it of like, I want justice for Joel. I mean, but then I also loved how then Gale was like, no, she's lying. She doesn't want justice. She wants vengeance. She wants vengeance. Exactly right. And I love that scene between her and Tommy as well, especially when she says, some people, people tell lies, but then there's liars, and the separation between the two, and then how some people are just bad or just fucked up and are just always going to be that way, and the implication of Ellie being one of those people was heavy. So I'm really scared, but also really excited for what's gonna come. Yeah, it's gonna be a time tomorrow. New episode drops.
Yep.
Tomorrow at the time of our recording, anyway. Okay, that's the weekly watchings.
Oh, and by the way, the only Wendy's in Australia is on Surfers Paradise.
Thank you.
I was close.
You were. It's the Gold Coast.
It's basically
So
the
close.
Gold Coast, yeah.
It's Gold Coast.
Yeah, it's got buildings.
So close.
So I'm assuming they're probably not going to branch out anytime soon.
Nah, I guess they'll test the waters up there, and then. Although Five Guys opened a second restaurant in Melbourne, so.
Yeah, but it's nowhere near where I am.
Yeah, they're both in the city. It's annoying.
How do you think I feel?
Yeah.
We got a Carl's Jr. and only lasted about a month.
Coles Jr. Jeez.
Yeah.
Haven't heard that in a while. That's a throwback.
And that's going to be turned into a Hungry Jack's, I think.
Oh, okay.
Because that's our familiarity.
Oh, you mean Carl's Jr.?
Yeah.
What do you think I said?
Okay. I thought you said it's Coles, and I'm like, huh?
Coles Jr.
What?
A mini junior,
I got
No, no,
confused.
no.
Never
a
mind.
target country.
Look, it's fine. You're not
Entire
really
country.
you're not really missing out on much with Carl's Jr. It's not the greatest of chains.
It's
Oh, I've
fine.
had- I've
yeah.
had
It's
some.
like it's
They had one
I've
open
got one
in
that's like 10,
Ballarat.
10 minutes up from where I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the greatest though.
yeah.
Nah.
I think I'd rather have Hungry Jacks than Carl's Jr. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't really eat Hungry Jacks that often. Macca's is my go-to
Yeah,
fast food burger
generally,
place.
yes, me too.
Yeah.
Hungry Jack's is usually the place I want to go if I want a not a veggie burger but a Beyond Burger, you know,
Yeah.
Mm.
plant-based burger. They're quite
Plant-based,
nice, not as heavy.
Yeah,
Nice.
I hear very good things about it. I need to try it.
It's good. It's good. I don't like the veggie patties that've got corn in it. There's chunks of corn. It's like I get it, but I don't want it. I want something.
I didn't ask
want
for
a
the
veggie-
corn burger.
Yeah, I want a plant-based burger that's actually cooked on top of actual pig fat. So
Ah, wow.
sort of vegan, but not really.
It's not vegan at all.
No, it's not. Unless you want
Just
the vegan
ruined it with
cheese.
Have you gone?
I'm more worried about my health
Okay.
than animals. Anyway. Hmm?
Yes. All right. Gold leader.
It just became the fast food podcast.
Yeah. It's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy. Okay.
Especially when you're hungry.
Okay. It's time. Especially when you're hungry. All right. Well, the quicker we get through this, quicker we can grab dinner. So in our first break of programming for this episode, we are now not going to do nerdy news. We're not going to do Trailer Park. We are going to be doing
What?
what? We're going to be doing 3 reviews today. We'll have our popcorn culture, but then we'll have sort of 2 quickie reviews that aren't so quick, just like last week. So here's the first one, and it's Thunderbolts. Oh my god, Thunderbolts is here.
Mhm.
Thunderbolts has
Yay.
arrived. The bolts are in. Yes. So yeah, overall thoughts, and then we'll discuss whatever else we want to bring up. But we'll just preface this with spoiler warning.
Just in case.
Just in case, we probably won't go too deep dive on it, but we may talk about the ending. We may talk about other things. So just keep that in mind as we go through. But I really liked this movie. I really liked it a lot. I had a lot of fun watching it. It was well executed. It was a very simple story, and it just kicked ass. Like they didn't overthink it. There was no convoluted bullshit to it, and it was kind of something we haven't really seen before from the MCU. And I'm glad it wasn't like Marvel's version of the Suicide Squad. That's not the vibe I got at all. Because I was worried that's what it was going to be a little bit, but they didn't do that. And I just can't wait to watch it again, to be honest. I feel like, this is the first time for a while where I've gone, I want to go see this a second time on the big screen. I mean, I saw Deadpool and Wolverine twice, I think, but that barely counts, I feel. 'Cause it's still a Fox movie to me for some reason. But anyway, yeah, so this was great. Fucking Florence Pugh is just a force of nature. And
She's awesome.
yeah. Yeah. I love the fact that in the promo for this, they've been talking about how she jumped off this building and had to beg Marvel to let her. do
Have
it
you
and all this
seen the
stuff.
behind the scenes shots of that?
No, I want to
Holy
check it out.
crap. There is, for this one scene, for this one person jumping off this building, there is like a crew of 50 up on the top of this building
Oh,
with this
wow.
giant rig to make sure that she does this all safely. And it's
Yeah.
insane. It is
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching the assembled of this one.
Yeah. Oh, I
To
can't
see how
wait.
it all came together. But yeah, I kind of expected the sequence of her falling to be a bit longer, because it only goes for 10 seconds, but I suppose it doesn't take that long to fall off a building, does it? But I did like the wide shot, how they pulled out and they clearly had like a drone or a helicopter or something catch
Yeah.
her going down. That was pretty epic. Yeah, that was fun. But yeah, that was great. And then just her whole vibe of like, I'm lost and I don't know where I'm going, and
This whole
and
mental health thing, the mental health struggle
yeah,
that
there's
she
a
has.
mental, yeah, correct. There's a whole like depression thing going on, this
Yeah.
PTSD thing going on, and just
throughout the entire
her
movie,
figuring
yeah.
that out throughout the entire movie, yeah. And it's, just
And she's grieving.
she's grieving for Natasha still, and and all of that. It's just there's just a lot going on, and she's not feeling fulfilled anymore in her life, and
Yeah.
her dad's barely around, and I love how she throws that in his face like multiple times, like, it's been a year, Alexei, and you've not shown up for me.
Yeah.
You've not reached out, so don't pretend like you're a good father or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
she needed her dad at her most
Yeah.
vulnerable point, and that made me so emotional.
yeah, it was great. It was just really cool to see them kind of tackle this, like you said, mental health side of
Mm.
these heroes. And a lot of people are praising it for not undercutting any of it with humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Red Guardian's there, and he's the humor, right? And Bob to a degree, I suppose, as well, provides some humor, and so does John Walker a little. Like, there's all little bursts of humor everywhere, but
It's
none
not
of it
quippy.
is like it's not
Yeah.
quippy. They don't do it. It's not like how Thor became fat, and that's how he dealt with his trauma, and he was the butt of every joke in Endgame. They didn't do that here. They
The
actually
fat of
treated
every
it
joke.
all. Yeah, yeah. They didn't treat they treated it with respect.
Yeah, they really did.
And the tone was perfect the whole way through. Like, anytime Alexei yelled or screamed something and it was fucking hysterical, and the entire cinema was in hysterics, like, it didn't ruin any of the heaviness or any of the weight. And like those
Yeah.
those moments where you're like, especially towards the end when Bob becomes Sentry, and you just see how OP he is, and you just feel this dread. Like, the moment that little girl that, like, quote unquote died, the entire cinema just went, oh.
Yeah.
That
Because, I mean, we
knocked
didn't
me.
know. Oh, yeah, I bet it did. I was just
After
like,
Last of Us 3 of that little girl dying, I was like, no. Come
Yeah.
on, Marvel. You're supposed to be my
Yeah.
feel good.
like, I couldn't believe, I'm like, oh my god, this is like the biggest oh no moment since like Infinity War I've kind of had, of just like, oh god, we're fucked. And it was great. It was great. And I really liked the fact that it wasn't like, the fact that nobody was killed and everyone was kind of saved at the end. I don't think it was undercutting the severity of anything, because clearly they set it up very well where, the Thunderbolts try and take Bob down and they can't. And you see how OP he is. And like, I'm just like, Marvel has a Superman character now.
I honestly thought he was going to be Adam Warlock for whatever reason. Just the way that he looked.
He looked very Adam Warlock. He did.
Yeah, and then especially considering that they dyed his hair blonde, and I'm just like, are they going for an Adam Warlock here? What the hell's going on?
Nah, he was a golden Homelander.
Yeah, Golden Hope. Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Because his eyes were also glowing in a way too.
Yes,
so,
they were. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was very unsettling.
Threw me off for quite a bit watching.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think, one of the other things I really liked was Yelena and Bob kind of being the central focus of the story, in a way, of like, I kind of knew it was heading in that direction, like, because I already knew about Sentry going into this, so I'm like, okay, they're clearly going to stop him with a conversation, with words. And Yelena's going to be at the heart of that. And Captain America: Brave New World tried to do that, and they failed, in my opinion. In this movie, they did the same thing, but it fucking meant something.
Yeah.
The writers on this, they did a much better job. I hate saying that, because I liked Brave New World. There were parts of it I liked, but it also just felt like a waste of 2 hours a little bit, because they were just retreading stuff from Falcon Winter Soldier. but Thunderbolts is just taking these characters to the next level. I think the only other, like, if I had another criticism, not that I do really, but the fact that I think most of us called that Taskmaster was going to die so early on, to the point where when she actually did get shot, I didn't even react. I was just like, oh, I guess she's dead now. Like,
one line and you're done.
Yeah, it kind of felt like such a waste. To be honest, like, yeah, like, but oh well, whatever. It's because it's weird because like Taskmaster's supposed to be this character who can read everyone else's moves. Like she has this thing that helps her study the moves instantly so she can defeat her enemy, and then she just gets taken out by Ghost so easily. Like, I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. I did like how the way they all slowly figured out they were sent to kill each other. That was clever. That whole scene was good. There's just a lot to really like about this movie. Fulya, tell me your thoughts on Thunderbolts. How are you feeling after watching it?
I am going to just say that the Thunderbolts was a breath of fresh air for Marvel.
Yeah.
And I am so glad that this is the direction they've gone with the film. It hit a lot of check boxes for me, and especially when the story is centered around, mental health and the amount of like trauma that these heroes or anti-heroes have gone through in their lives. It's and just more specifically for Yelena, where because she's going through so much of it and she's gotten to a point, she's at her all-time low essentially. And it really sort of it hit me close to the heart for most of the duration of that film. Everything that they touched on, the way that they're talking about how they're feeling and what they're going through, and the fact that but then there's like other forces outside of their control at play at the same time. It really sort of blew me away that this is the direction they went with in this particular film, and I loved it for that. And I'm so glad that this is where they've gone. And I am really looking forward to seeing them in action later on in Doomsday, because that's going to be intense. Now that we know that these characters can somewhat work together and they've bonded over, their own traumas, I suppose. It's amazing. And I want to give a huge shout out to Lewis Pullman, who plays Bob.
Great.
He did such a great job as the character of Bob, who had no idea what was going on, where he just woke up out of nowhere and he's like, it was here the whole time. I don't know what to tell you, when they ask him how the hell he got in there. And yeah, it was fascinating to also find out about, Bob's feelings and what's going on in his head. And the fact that darkness enshrouds him to the point where his super abilities become darkness, and that's what takes over the world essentially. And it's like, oh man, like that really hits you, because that's what for anyone who goes through any kind of like anxiety or depression and they hit those lows, they're like bottomless pit lows. They're really bad. So I love that the way that they've depicted it in this sort of sense in the film as a superpower. It's crazy. And I love it. I loved it for that. Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh,
nice. Thank you, Fulya. Mike, how are you feeling about Thunderbolts? Are you happy? Did it exceed your expectations, or did it, just about be exactly what you were hoping for?
I wasn't really expecting what it was. I was expecting like like a bit of fun, like especially when they're in the limousine and getting chased by. I love that in the trailer, and I also love that scene as well because it was just fun and just and I thought it was just going to be all that, but then yeah, it definitely took like more levity with the mental health aspect and how that was all for the main story with each of the characters and where they are at that point, especially with Sentry and how they have to tackle with the black dog basically. And for anyone who's actually been through that, they could probably see a lot of similarities. And yeah, it was a definitely an interesting take for a Marvel film to do, and probably thinking like financially, they were hoping like Captain America Brave New World to be like going gangbusters, and well, it did. It made its money back, but still, it was a bit of a weird hodgepodge of Frankenstein story like woven into each other. Where this one, they said, okay, this is what we need. Essentially, this is to introduce us to Sentry because we'll need Sentry down the track, but do what you want basically, and you got these characters to play with, and I think that's what needs to happen with Marvel is actually this is what the story needs for us to move forward, but play with it. Like you can definitely see that with Deadpool and Wolverine, where essentially they are sort of setting up the X-Men universe, so that can be played into Doomsday, but and this one is to set up the new Avengers as well as Sentry, and how that's going to take place within the world, and ramping up the last of the multiverse saga, and I was quite happy with that. But being a story by itself, it worked on so many levels. I mean, it was definitely a character driven, as well as emotionally like acceptable when it comes to mental health. Otherwise, yeah, we've seen sort of the mental health within Marvel with Tony Stark and his PTSD in number 3, as well as Fat Thor, and how that was handled. You know, he was a god, so you can make fun of gods. It's like, yeah, but still, people will still see this, and it's basically saying it's okay to be fat phobic. Haha. Yeah, this isn't a Harry Potter film. Anyway, yeah. So overall, I did enjoy this film, and I would actually go watch it if I was actually counting my monies. But I'll be first one there on Disney Plus when it comes out, and it's watching it again because it was very enjoyable. I mean, it didn't blow my socks off, but sometimes it doesn't need to. It just can be a singular story, and that's what I kind of like about it. It wasn't too big, but it wasn't too small for it to be like a special event sort of thing. Otherwise, they would have chucked this on Disney Plus. But I definitely enjoyed it, and apparently a lot of people did and resonated with it, and I did like Bob. Bob's a good addition to Marvel, and what his story is going to be, setting up for he's going to be the main guy who's going to fight. I don't know. Probably not. I don't. I'm hoping for an intergalactic Judgment Day, and it's going to be Matt Murdock and She-Hulk and all that just being the prosecution. No, being the defendant. That's what law does. Overall, 10 out of 10 would recommend. Best movie in the world. Anyway.
Just one slight spoiler. I just wanted to quickly get your guys' opinion on the post-credit scene, where we have the Thunderbolts now labeled as the new Avengers, but then we also have reference to the fact that Sam has been tasked by the president to put together the Avengers. So
Past, present.
both teams are supposed to be coexisting. What do you guys make of the potential for conflict there in our heroes?
Well, they mentioned that apparently Sam wasn't interested, or more not really interested, more so like he didn't like the idea of the Thunderbolts becoming the new Avengers.
Yeah.
And so with that in mind, like, it means that he would rather work with anyone else but them, it seems. Like, if he's going to be forming the Avengers, for him, they need to be not, a ragtag kind of team of misfits, essentially. But I think Sam's going to have a harder time putting together a group of people, like group of heroes, to be known as the Avengers when he's already got these guys ready to go, essentially. Like, they've been tested out on the field. They've worked together, even if they do have their differences with each other. Like, they have gone on a mission already and they've managed to save the world in a way.
Yeah, like the optics are really good. Like the public is behind them. They have the public support. So
no thanks to Valentina, but yeah.
Oh my god.
We'll get to that.
She was darker than I expected her to be.
I wanted to slap that bitch, but
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah, but no, like, yeah, I feel like Sam's just gonna have a hard time putting together his own group of heroes compared to what we've already got so far. So
yeah,
I don't know what's gonna happen. You don't think
Mike,
so?
what are your thoughts, Mike?
Well, my sort of thinking is it's kind of like the Sokovia Accord, where you need like the government facing is like, yeah, we're doing these people, the Thunderbolts, tested and they're the front facing, like they need a facade. It's kind of like going back to talking about the boys. It's all what's the word? It's all field tested, where apparently these are the sort of what you put on the Wheaties packets. They score well in like test groups and all that. It's like that sort of thing. Hence why they all have the same sort of uniforms and they got their sponsors and all this thing and then with Sam, it's not necessarily trying to find the people. I think he can. I mean,
yeah.
you got Thor, you got Carl Danvers will come back and do that, but they haven't got the government approval, and I think that's what Brave New World was sort of talking about, where they need the facade of a team to look after you, not necessarily the best, but they need to have a face to put on the Wheaties packets and all that. So that's why I'm thinking there's probably going to be the two teams, where the nefarious of Valentina having the Thunderbolts. It's like, oh yeah, because the optics are great and people do like them. Some people don't, but naysayers. There you go. But Sam would be the main person doing the Avengers that we know, and that relationship with Bucky is going to be a bit rocky. And they do say that they had a fight. maybe to do with of just maybe the same sort of fight between Rogers and Stark. Of we need to do this. We're basically the same thing, but Bucky is now the Stark sort of thing. But Captain America is still Captain America. It's like, yes, I'm going to defend the world, but it's going to be under our means and not necessarily what the government wants us to do. You know, that sort of thing. Because I wouldn't trust the Thunderbolts to do anything. They just got lucky.
Yeah, I think so. Because they're all very much like in it for themselves, sort of thing.
Especially Alexei. I mean,
Alexi's a little different.
he loves the idea. His heart's in the right place. But no, it's that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I guess it's going to be addressed in Avengers Doomsday. It must be part of the story, what they're setting up here. So, because, we get the tease of Fantastic Four at the end, which was fun.
Oh, did we? I left.
But
Unless I forgot the stay. It's been a long time since I've seen a Marvel movie.
Can't forget the rules. Yeah. Did you want to talk about Val, Fulya? You have some extra venting you wanted to do before we move on to our next quickie, not so quick review?
My gosh. She just really got on my nerves in this film. Just the way that she was being so snarky, and she had all the confidence in the world that the government wasn't going to be able to, incarcerate her for anything. And she's just like, I need a way to make me look good so that they don't chuck her in jail. And I'm just like, lady, you have another thing coming, all right? And she's very conniving. She is so conniving. She's got the sort of twirly mustache kind of evilness going on with her, and I don't like it. This lady needs to go. But it was interesting to see that the one thing that she was working on ended up turning against her.
Yeah, I liked that.
So that kind of worked out well in the end. And I'm happy about that, and the fact that she owes them now. the Thunderbolts. But I couldn't stand her in this film. I really couldn't. And that's a testament to Julia's performance.
Yeah, for sure.
You should watch her in Veep.
Absolutely. Yeah. Definitely should watch some Veep. Yeah, Val's crazy. I actually thought that during that moment where was it Void Bob that had her against the wall and was like choking her out. Like I thought the movie was gonna kill her. I was like, I could see this happening. And then they didn't. So
I was hoping it would happen, but it didn't.
Hey, what do you see?
It didn't happen.
Dead.
Crack her neck.
Yes.
Crack it?
Yeah. I don't think I have anything else to say. Does anyone else have any final Thunderbolts thoughts before we move on?
No, I think we can Thunderbolt out of this.
Yeah. I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, the actual post-credit scene, where we find out it's the Fantastic Four. That section was actually filmed by the Russo brothers.
Yeah, it was filmed like a month ago on the set of Avengers Doomsday.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Which explains the bad wigs.
And the sudden change of cinematography. Bad wigs. Well,
Fucking
Bucky
whatever
has always
Carp-
had a bad wig.
whatever fucking I don't understand. Like some of the Avengers, some of the Marvel wigs are good, and then some of them are just so out of touch with the current like hairstyles. I just don't understand. Like fucking Bucky looked like he was he fucking looked like Matt Berry, like just this fucking coiffured
How would you
waves
know?
from the 70s, you know.
How would you know? This is set in the future.
Mm.
5 years in the
True,
future.
It is set in the future from now.
Mm.
Maybe
So
they have insiders.
How would you know
insider
what the
knowledge
style is?
at the time?
Yeah. I did like the
suppose.
fact that when Alexi's in the supermarket showing off the Wheaties packets, that that was filmed like later when David Harbour was gearing up for Stranger Things, because he he had to shave for Stranger Things, and we had a Henry Cavill mustache thing where I I can't wear a beard. I need to be Hopper at the moment. So
Yeah.
oh well.
That's all right. It was still funny.
Yeah.
It was still funny. All right, that's it. Thunderbolts are done.
Asterix no longer needed.
Yes, Thunderbolts a go.
Go
check
watch it. It's
Go
great.
check it out. Yeah, it's a good time at the movies.
It's good.
Very good time at the movies. Yeah, yeah. So good. Marvel is on an upswing. We'd love to see it.
It's good. It's bad. It's good. It's bad. hopefully these last runs are going to be good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because next one is Fantastic Four, then Doomsday, then a Spider-Man in between, and then Secret Wars. Brand new day. That's what it's called.
Yeah, brand new day coming. Alrighty.
And that'll be and that's the whole set until 2027.
Yeah, and then we have no idea what's coming after that.
No idea. Maybe it'll stop.
Maybe they'll stop. Nah.
Maybe it'll stop.
Maybe we'll find out at Comic-Con this year what the plan is.
It will stop. It will stop.
It'll
More.
stop.
Feige will retire and kick dust at the end. Kick dirt. It's like, I'm done. Hands free. Because I killed off everyone else, including my X-Men. No more. Disney,
No more.
you sort it out.
Okay,
Done.
let's move on. Because speaking of Disney, we've got another Disney-related property to talk about. But it's appropriate too because it is Star Wars Day currently here in Australia. It's May the 4th. Now,
Star Wars.
we're going to be talking about Andor, Season 2, Chapter 2, Episodes 5 through 8.
No,
Or 5.
4 through 6.
4, 5,
Well,
6.
4, 5. Look.
The original trilogy. 4, 5, 6.
I'm a
I know
bit
you're
out of
excited
it.
for more.
I'm a bit out of it right now because I left the aircon on too long and now I feel a bit gross. So, excuse me. 4, 5, 6 episodes 4, 5, and 6. Yes, which are ever been to Gorman. I have friends everywhere, and what a festive evening. So I guess we'll just covering storylines. I don't have too much to say on whatever's going on with fucking Saw Gerrera and Willman, who is apparently the name of the kid that was with them on the fucking farming planet last week. I didn't even realize that was his name. Apologies. But yeah, that's a whole thing. But yeah, I mean these episodes were good. There were some good moments in there. I'm again the Cyril and Dedra storyline remains my favorite. I mean, maybe last week I think I said it was Mon Mothma, but Mon Mothma didn't have heaps
Not
to
much.
do.
Yeah.
No, she wasn't as heavily centered this time, but there was some cool moments which we'll get to. But for my money, I'd like to start talking about the Cyril and Dedra stuff, which of course then links pretty heavily into
Gorman.
that the Gorman was the focus of this. The
Mm.
Gorman storyline, I guess you can call it that, because then you've got Cassian coming in and doing his thing, and then you have Vel and Cinta as well. So yeah, I like Gorman. I'm fascinated by the world building here. Like, they've given them this language that's like French but not,
Yeah.
which I thought was really clever. Because in Star Wars, obviously there's a lot of alien languages, but we've never really see the humans speak anything other than English. So it was
Yeah.
really, really cool to see this other culture that actually speaks. And then even their accents, outside of talking, space French, didn't even have really much of a twang. Like, a couple of the actors did, but for the most part, not really. So that was really cool. I really liked that, and then just them talking about the massacre that Moff Tarkin perpetrated years before, and how that's still very complex and weighing on everyone's minds and stuff, and especially now that the Empire are trying to impose their presence on the planet, as they're trying to tactfully not reveal that they're trying to mine for calcite, or calcite, or whatever they called it. Yeah, and then Cyril, who would have thought? I mean, Cyril's fine, but he does kind of, and has given off the air of a bit of a bumbling, nervous, little
Tick.
little shit sort of a character, geek, I guess. But but to see him so, like, asserting such dominance over his staff, at this facility he's working at, but then also to be so easily playing everyone around him, like him acting as this Imperial spy, on behalf of Dedra and the Emperor and everything, is just like really, really cool. I really, really like it, and the fact that he's tricking the Gormans into thinking that he's on their side in terms of the rebellion. Like, I love Dedra's plan of, like, make them think that they have a shot of beating us. Like, let them build a resistance, and then we'll come in and we'll fuck them up. Like, I like that, the fact that she kind of said that again this week was like, let them think that let them experience what it's like to win, and then
crush them.
And then crush them. I just really love this approach that they're taking. I think it's really, really cool. And then to see Cassian in this context as well, of just, I'm really confused of just as to what he's doing with the whole thing of, like, him. Is he being rebellious, or is he playing it safe because he's worried about Bix, or like or does he, like, think that the Gormans stand no chance against the Empire, and then and then everyone around him is telling him, you're a fucking idiot, basically. I'm like, you need to you have to pick a lane. You picked your, like fucking Luthen says it to him, like, you said, kill me or sign me up, and you said sign up, so, like, you've got to do something. But I liked how he kind of had to pretend to be this fashion designer, to get in on Gorman. That was fun. And then I'm going to just go on a little quick rant about Val and Cinta before I throw to Fulya and her Gorman thoughts, because I'm just a little pissed off. Because I know that Verada Sethu is on Doctor Who now, but did we have to kill her off? Did we?
Yeah,
I know,
she was gay.
I mean, I know. I
Is
mean,
that
I know
where you're
this.
trying to
I
get
know.
to?
I know. Yes, I know. Andor is obviously finished now. Like, they're not making another season. But, like, I don't know. I'm very conflicted with the fact that they decided to kill her after her and Vel reunite and have a beautiful romantic moment that's like plagued with their trauma and like, oh my god, like it was such a beautiful that moment of the two of them, you know, talk like being open and honest with each other, and the way it's acted was so emotionally charged, and then just the way they kissed and everything, it was just beautiful to watch. And then she fucking dies like that, and it almost feels pointless because then the guy that the stupid guy with the gun was trying to like stop from seeing what was going on, he ended up helping them anyway. Like he was, and so I was just pissed. I was just like, it's not a complete, you know, bury your gays trope, I suppose. Some people are saying it's not, because the whole point is that everyone is fighting in this rebellion and people are going to die. It doesn't matter if they're gay or straight or, you know, but it's just the pointless loss of life in this fight against the Empire is just a part of what this show is showing us, I guess. Like, it's just they're in a war. Like, it doesn't matter that she's gay. And I'm like, yeah, but you literally killed her off immediately after they kissed. So it feels a little bury your gays to me. But I'm biased. As a queer person, maybe I'm just biased. I don't know.
You're not biased, you're bi.
Yes. This is true. But anyway, so I don't know. But I really, when we'll talk about the ending a bit maybe, but I the way it all kind of went down, I liked, but I didn't like the fact that they killed her. But I did love Vel giving it to that douchebag of like, you're going to carry her with you the rest of your life. She is skin now. She's your skin. And I was just like, oh, that's very cool dialogue. Yeah, it was great. Anyway, those are my overall Gorman thoughts on the because it's such an interconnected storyline.
Yeah.
It's just gonna dump it all. Fulya, please. How did all the Gorman stuff go for you with Cyril and Cassian, and then Vel and Cinta at the end?
Yeah, look, honestly, I have no idea what to think about Cyril at the moment. He really double crossed the characters. He double crossed the viewers, because I'm thinking, what's he actually on? I am so confused. Like, he's helping the Empire, but he's also helping the Gormans to get what they want and to do their rebellion thing. But then by the end of it, he's like, he witnesses the shooting, and then he looks like he's out of breath. And I'm like, why is he out of breath? He was just up in a watchtower, just spying on him.
Moment.
Very intense
moment for him.
He just saw someone die, and he's a pencil pusher.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh man, but he wasn't before. Like, he used to be out on the front lines, and now, I don't know. Anyway.
Well, they didn't really have much to do.
Yeah, Cyril just confused me a little bit. I wasn't sure what his angle was. I know that he's still up there for the Empire, but at the same time, especially when his office got raided, for to find out whether or not that there was a listening device in the space. I don't know whether to believe he knew. I don't think he knew that there was a listening device on his phone in the office. But he also didn't strike me as the fact that he was actually, like, I don't know. Yeah, it's just weird. With Cyril was just kind of confused me this episode.
I think he's on Dedra's side. Wherever Dedra is, I think Cyril is, because I feel like he loves her. I think that's the sense I'm getting. Like the moment where he comes home to Coruscant, and then that walks in, and then she's like, "You only get to see me for an hour," and so then. And then, she's like, fine, I guess we can have sex. Turn off the lights, like, it just... She
Get on the
clearly
bed.
cares.
All fours.
She clearly cares about him a lot. And because, that moment too, when in episode 6, when he's like, is it weird to say that this is the best day of my life? And then she's just like, I'm just glad to see you happy. Like, that's felt genuine. But I feel like Cyril loves Dedra, and I think the only side he's on is wherever Dedra is. That's how I'm reading it. So I think he's on the side of the Empire, because that's where Dedra's allegiances are. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
I still feel like he's just confused the crap out of me.
Fair enough.
Yeah. With that though, I don't know what's going on with Wilman and Saw Gerrera. Like when we come across them for the first time in episode 4, I'm like, all right, we know a year has passed, but how the hell did Wilman come across Saw Gerrera and start working for him? Like,
Through
I
Luthen.
assume probably, I don't know, but like it's interesting the fact that now Saw is keeping him until he gets what he needs, essentially, is what he said.
To get high.
Yeah, and then by the end of it, Wilman's on his side? I don't know. Like, that also confused me. And I'm like, what is happening right now? Right? And it's the moment he took off that mask, I'm like, oh, dude, you're an idiot. What are you doing?
That was such an interesting moment. That was probably the only... Well, that and when Saw shot the other dude.
Yeah.
And said he was a traitor. I'm like, this is all very shady to me. But that moment of him, like, telling Wilman to let go and breathe it in. You're in the rebellion. This is the war. And you're free. This is what freedom is like. You know, take it all, you know. Like, that was, I don't know.
The
It was interesting.
The horror. Apocalypse now, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I there's definitely going to be more to that particular story than what we've seen so far, and even just in the course of the 3 episodes that we see them, we didn't really get to see much of them. Essentially, it was mostly just Wilman working on getting someone up to snuff to know how to work this mechanism or this machine that they had, and to the point where they didn't even need him anymore. They just kept Wilman, and got him to do the job. The Mon Mothma side of things was also interesting, because then we also had Luthen, and who's the chick that works with him, his assistant?
So her name's Claire.
Claire, that's the one.
Yeah.
Claire?
Yeah. Claire. And yeah, they all end up going to this fancy event of sorts, to which, like, Luthen had to be there and with Claire to remove a listening device that was on one of these artifacts that they had at this event.
Can I just say I really loved that, as like
the tension of that,
like the tension of it, and just like the conflict of, like, you know, them selling all these artifacts to all these people that they're trying to spy on, like the fact that it's backfired this way, and then that moment of Luthen trying to pin it on Claire and being like, I told you I didn't want to spy on this dude, and then she's like, no, it was your idea, or whatever. I don't know, but that whole argument was fun.
You agreed.
And then you agreed to it, yeah. So, and I just like that as a setup for, you know, this moment, and then the way it all kind of, the tension was so good, and that's what I was hinting at earlier, like with the conflict on Gorman with Vel and Cinta, and, you know, them trying to, you know, rob the Imperial transport, going back and forth between that and Claire just trying to rip off this stuck transmitter while fucking Krennic is right there.
Yeah.
You know, that was great. And then the Krennic and Mon Mothma back and forth was excellent.
Yeah.
Mwah.
Yeah.
That was delicious.
That whole sort of, like, that scene where they sort of transitioned between both of those scenarios that were happening at the same time was really, really cool, because you could feel the tension sort of building. It had me on the edge of my seat, and I'm like, come on, and I almost had me stop breathing, and I'm like, oh my God. And then you see the blood trickling down her hand when she's trying to unlock, like, trying to get this listening device unstuck, and I'm just like, holy crap, man. There's just so much tension happening. It was crazy. But then, you know, you also had what else was happening? Oh yeah, and the heist, like that whole heist thing with with that transporter, the way that they were trying to make it so that, you know, they ended up the whole just the planning of it, the way that Val and Cinta were like, you need to listen to our orders, because if you don't, this is all going to turn to shit and it's not going to work. And that scenario, the planning phase, was also kind of intense, where they're talking to the Gormans who are helping them. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I wasn't happy to find out that Cinta was the one that got shot.
Yeah.
And instantly killed because she got hit in the chest. And it just, I don't know. Like, I don't know how I feel. It was sad because they only just recently reunited after so long. But it was also a little bit like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how I feel, to be honest. I'm kind of unsure with that sort of situation.
It's because her, like, I mean, the gay thing aside for me, but just focusing on, I feel like it was such a pointless death. Like, for her to catch a stray for no reason, I think. I don't know, it just didn't feel like it mattered. Her sacrifice mattered. You know, especially because they're doing something, and I know it's all part of it, but, you know, they're doing something that, you know, the Empire knows they're already doing anyway.
Yeah.
And the Empire's letting them get away with it.
Yeah.
It all just kind of felt a bit, like she should have died for something more important. But I guess that's just the whole thing, isn't it? Of just everyone is putting their lives on the line for this thing.
The casualties of war.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. Like, that whole heist thing felt like it was might have been a bit of a waste of time, but I don't know, like it. And I just didn't like the fact that Gorman is the place with the spiders.
Spider ants. They look more like ants.
Are they though?
With huge thoraxes, though. I'm just trying to make Kendall feel better without looking at them.
They know they're spiders. That's what they're called.
I appreciate it, but yeah, they're definitely very spider-like. Yes. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But that's okay. We haven't seen too many of them. It's mostly just those dead ones that are just casually passed around as gifts. I'm like, okay.
Like, excuse me.
And they got messages in their butts.
Inside them? Yeah.
Messages in there. That was funny.
Yeah. I know, this particular chapter didn't really hit as much as the first chapter did.
No.
Oh, and the Bix and Cassian side of things. It is clear Bix is not handling her trauma very well.
No.
She is turned to drugs.
Yeah.
She's getting addicted to it, and it's not good.
Self-medication.
Yeah,
but
I don't love that either.
Leads to something else.
Yeah, I mean, did it kind of feel out of nowhere for you guys of
yeah, like, how the hell
randomly
did she get in there? Yeah,
getting in to kill Dr. Gorst? Yeah.
Yep.
I'm glad it happened, because it's like, okay, I feel like this is probably the best way for her to maybe cope with her trauma, is to, you know, actually take out the threat, so she doesn't worry about him coming to, you know, hurt her again. But then that's only going to do so much. She's still going to be suffering. So yeah.
Michael?
Kind of a parallel with Last of Us.
Yeah. Definitely. Lots of vengeance being held around, lots of death. Yeah, I don't like what they're doing with Bix this season, I will say. I don't like this traumatized turning to drugs. Bix, I don't like it. But
yeah, and you can see that Cassian, like, he really cares but he doesn't know what to do to help her.
No,
Until the last bit. Until the
no,
last scene.
and until the end, and he's like, yeah. Then they
Kind of
tag
acting
team
stupid. Not acting smartly. Like turning up to Luthen's place and not having the cover of I got you these so you can take this, and then he just said no, forget cover. So and then leading them to killing the guy and then exploding the place.
Yeah.
Kind of says, we're right here. I was thinking that at the end is like, ooh, that's a huge escalate. Oh, I can't say words.
Escalation?
Yes. So
yeah,
it all leads to the last 3 episodes.
Well, yeah, we're halfway now. We've got like 6 episodes left, don't we?
Do we? Oh.
I thought it was 12 episodes.
Yeah, it is 12 episodes.
Ah, there you go.
We're halfway
Two
there.
more chapters.
I thought it was going to do a Star Wars thing of having 3, 3, and 3. Anyway.
No, I guess not.
I
guess
well,
not.
Haven't I got egg on my face?
No, not at all. Not at all. I was the one that said 5 through 8 earlier. Just so confidently. Like a moron.
Said it with my full chest.
Mike, we've heard a little bit of your thoughts on this chapter, but take us through a bit more. How are you feeling about these 3 episodes you've watched?
Yeah, kind of an interesting snapshot of where things are, and obviously next week's going to be another time jump. But with gore and stuff, it is an interesting thing where it is sort of harking back in real life of like occupied Europe and how they deal with that, how these bunch of not professional fighters, and they're all a bunch of like tailors and artistes, and how they're coping with the sort of the stylized idea of war, and you can sort of see that with the sort of accidental death as well, with trying to act the hero, and it's just leading towards something that's going to be a lot more nefarious with it. And the shot that is heard throughout the galaxy, this is going to be the particular thing that's probably going to turn the galaxy on Goron, and so I still think I think that this it's a death that does seem to be out of nowhere and out of context and all that, but I think maybe the overall story is going to have this being an actual point with the downfall of Goron, because stuff's going to happen, I reckon. And having them think they're getting away with it, and the Empire is sort of letting them. It's sort of leading the lambs to slaughter, sort of thing, because what happens in Goron sort of is explained in Rebels as well, where we get to hear the aftermath of that, and that's the reason why Mothra's basically said, fuck this, I'm going to be rebel now. And she leaves everything behind, and because, I think this is going to be a speculation, and I'm not sure if it is or not, but because her cousin's on Goron at this present time, maybe Mothra's relationship is going to be affected, and there's going to be a death, and it's going to be more personal of what's going to happen. So that's my speculation. I don't want to be right because I don't like death. And yeah, and with the Cyril and that it's a very interesting. Yeah, it's a very interesting dynamic that we're getting a look-see of what the Empire is thinking, or this subject of the Empire is thinking, and how they're sort of setting this whole thing up. And yeah, I think this week's coming up is going to be a bit of a harsh reality to certain characters in this, and I don't know, maybe Cyril is going to have a change of heart. Otherwise, I don't. He probably sees as like, no, this is fun. I'm going to be behind them in enemy lines, and they think that I'm helping them, but I'm sort of making sure that they stay in line. But the stay in line is mass slaughter. So maybe he'll think of something else, and maybe that's going to be a tarnish on the relationship. It's like, you led me to believe that I'm actually helping the Empire, but I didn't expect this, that sort of thing. I don't know. And yeah, it's all going to be sad. And with the Cassian and the Bix side of it, yeah, I'm not a big fan of watching Bix's sort of struggle, because it is hard seeing someone with this sort of struggle, considering last week we saw her almost get sexually assaulted. Well, pretty much getting sexually assaulted, but yeah, and yeah, big audience cheer, yeah, torturing him, but then the explosion is like, oh, when is a bridge too far? I like this TV show that they're showing the sort of sure, we're rooting for these people, but it's more pristine television of are they really the good guys when they're doing this like questionable, morally wrong thing? And I like the fact that they're actually touching on different sort of like militias as well. Like, they're all striving for the same goal, but the way that they're doing is questionably ambiguous, and also, is it right or not? And that's why I like I sort of like the Gamera, Shaw Gamera sort of bit, where we do see the end bit when in Rogue One, where he is on the breathing apparatus, so huffing petrol is really harmful to your health, but you can sort of see him this is the only way he can stay connected to his sister, because he sort of does a spill of I'm sort of doing this for the love of my sister as well, and yeah, and just in the addiction side of it, and how that can control your life, sort of a parallel with Bix as well. So maybe there's going to be more of a parallel with Bix with that sort of storyline. So yeah, but hopefully next week we'll meet KCSO. We don't know. More energy.
Yeah.
We need something fun in this.
Yes, we need something that's not just, depressing. Cool. Well, before we move on to our third and final and main topic, I just wanted to quickly point out that we had a recasting in these episodes.
Jimmy Smits.
Yeah, Jimmy Smits, who since the prequel trilogy has played Bail. Is it Bail Organa? Is that his name? Bail Organa? I think that's his name.
I don't know his.
Yeah, Bail.
But I just know him as Senator.
Senator Organa. Yes. Since the prequel trilogy, he has played this character, and apparently, due to scheduling conflicts, he was unable to return to Andor season 2, because he played him in Obi-Wan. That was the last time we saw him. But I was gonna
say he looked different.
Yeah. So this was Benjamin Bratt was playing Senator Organa here. So I was a little disappointed to see that. I like Benjamin Bratt; he's a good actor. and a good recast if you're going to recast the character. But it's just the fact that he's been in this thing this long, like similar to Genevieve O'Reilly, who's been Mon Mothma for 20 years now, I guess technically, to have the two of them back together and it's one of the actors has changed, it's a bit like bugger. I was a little disappointed, but it's Hollywood, it happens. Busy actors and all that. Yeah, so I just wanted to mention that as well before we finish.
Could I touch on that?
Andor. Yeah,
because this is sort of a mini rant here. I like this decision, and it's also proving that we don't need, like, obviously, Rogue One was like one of the first Star Wars thing to actually have like de-aged and also recreate like people like Peter Cushing as Governor Tarkin and doing that sort of facial reconstruction in CGI. I think this is probably saying this is sort of saying to me that you can recast. We don't have to have like these weird flesh muppets. We don't. we can have Sebastian Stan playing Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, exactly.
That sort of thing, just to have that like out there, it's like, we can do this. I mean, he gets name dropped, so we're doing the due diligence of saying, who's this random person? He doesn't look like Jimmy Smits, like not all the way, but still. But more of this, please, if that does happen. I mean, this seems, I don't know if it's really necessary, unless he's actually turning up in later episodes, which could be a possibility.
That's probably it, because otherwise, why would you bother him if you can't get Jimmy Smits? Why would you put the character in there if he's not going to be important?
Yeah. So but obviously he's probably going to be turning up and maybe having a conversation with Moffat of saying, okay, you go rogue, I can stay right here and be part of it, be part of the Empire, but still be your eyes and ears within the thing. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Mike. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Let's get real actors to play real characters. Yeah.
None of this AI.
Yeah. None of this bullshit. All right. Any other final Andor thoughts before we move on?
I'm glad that there's more than I thought. I thought there's going to be 3 more and done.
Yeah. No, we got 6 more. We're halfway there. 2 more weeks, and then the whole thing will be over.
Yeah. Same as Doctor Who.
Same as Doctor Who?
Yeah, we're halfway through.
Are we halfway? Is there only 8 episodes of Doctor Who?
I think so. I could be wrong.
Oh boy. Yeah, no, you're probably
I hate shooting at the hip.
That's all right. Speaking of Doctor Who, it's time for the Wibbly.
Ooh.
The Wobbly.
Ooh.
The Timey, the Wimey. It's time for
pop culture.
Doctor Who. Hey, we're talking Who.
Yeah, we are for sure talking Who. All right, here we go. It's our thoughts on Series 2, Series 15 of Doctor Who, Episode 4. The episode, of course, is called Lucky Day.
Oh, lucky day. Oh, lucky day. And I was right. There's only 8 episodes, so I was. Yeah,
I just got that. Yeah, I just got there as well. Yes. So we're halfway there with Doctor Who. Well done. Yes.
Oh, we're halfway there. More songs.
More songs. Yes. Cool. All right. My overall thoughts on this one. I enjoyed this episode. The episode was a little bit of a rug pull, I will say, because I felt like we were going down this one path and then we just fucking went all the way over here. I'm like, okay. I didn't have this on my bingo card for this episode, but sure. But I'm kind of glad that the episode turned a little bit, just because it made it a bit more interesting. Because I wondered where it was going. Because I just up until the switch of Conrad, I was like, oh, okay, we're just gonna do a, Ruby's the heroine, sort of story while the doctor's away, and we're just checking in with her, sort of thing. But no, it was a bit more to it than that. But so yeah, I liked this episode a lot. It was weird. Like, I always find it weird when they do doctorless episodes. Like, that doesn't happen very often in Doctor Who, but I think I've seen a couple. I'm sure I've seen. Isn't there the one with Donna? There's one with Donna in series 4. I'm pretty sure, and bloody Rose Tyler's there, and that whole thing.
Turn left.
That was Turn Left. That was a good episode. I like that episode a lot. So yeah, there's precedent for it. But it was just interesting how we got to Ruby Sunday from the Doctor and Belinda, ending up in 2007, and then they meet young Conrad, who then we jump forward with to presumably 2025, but before the eponymous May date that they're trying to get to, and he's interviewing Ruby. So yeah, very interesting premise. I'm looking forward to discussing this with you guys and getting your thoughts. But yeah, I enjoyed it. And Conrad's a bastard. It's just Conrad's the worst. And I want to punch him in the face. Really hard. Good times. Fulya, your overall thoughts. How did this episode go for you?
Weird one. I don't think it was. I don't think it was the whole Doctor not being there that made it weird. I think it was mostly just the story of it all. But it was interesting that they decided to go in a direction where it still was still relevant to us as the viewer, and I was intrigued by the fact that they're calling out the haters on the internet.
Yeah.
In this
Little bit,
particular
yeah.
episode. Yeah. And I think the other thing that was a little bit weird about it is just the whole. It starts off with the Doctor and Belinda going back to what was it
2007.
2007, and meeting this kid who was just randomly in the same spot as where the TARDIS decided to materialize, and ends up going to his parents or to his mum being like, hey, I just saw this box just come out of nowhere, but the mum doesn't obviously believe him and all that sort of stuff. And then we just cut to him being an adult, and then it just goes from there where he's met up with Ruby and he's doing this podcast, and it all seems so innocent to start off with, to then ending up halfway through and finding out that he just used Ruby for his own I suppose activist gain in a way.
Yeah.
And so
I have a lot of thoughts on that.
Yeah, and so the moment that happened, that's when my brain was like, okay, we are hating on this guy now.
Yeah.
Because look what he just did to Ruby. Like, come on. How dare you? Yeah, it was a strange episode for me. I'm not sure that I liked it that much, but I appreciate that the context of the actual, like, what the story was trying to tell the viewers essentially is like, stop being the haters and making up stupid stories online and creating negative spaces on the internet essentially. So I kind of like that aspect of this whole episode, but I just it was just a little bit weird the way they went about it. But yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I like your thoughts. Thank you, Mike. How does this one fit within the annals of Doctor Who for you? Did you appreciate this episode being sort of an Earth-based episode that without the Doctor, or what were your thoughts?
I found it an interesting take because we haven't really seen. We've seen stories that involves companions after travels with the Doctor, and they're usually like following the Doctor's footsteps of becoming like the Doctor on Earth. Like we saw like Sarah Jane do that, as well as like Martha Jones and all that. But we haven't really seen someone who decided, you know what, I was young, but I still need to live my life, so I can just put that rest to bed. And that's what sort of happens with Ruby at the end of this episode, because she doesn't have to, like, her travels with the Doctor doesn't have to define her, and she can pretty much put that part of her life to bed. So in a weird way, this is sort of like the definitive, like, last episode of Ruby Sunday. Considering the last time was the last episode of the previous season, and I remember you sort of had a bit of, oh, is that it with Ruby? It's kind of weird. It just stopped right here, and it's like, well, yeah, this is more of a sweet swan song for this character. She might turn up in later episodes. We don't know, but for this is a good like putting this part of your life to bed. So I appreciate that, and the story is very interesting as well. It's very meta commentary, which previous Doctor Who's haven't really done that much. But considering my theories of what's going to happen at the end of this overarching story, and this is definitely part of the overarching story because it didn't really have much of an ending, and also we haven't really dwelled that much into the motive of Conrad, because considering what happens at the end, this is not going to be the last time we're going to see Conrad. So and that's going to be more interesting. So being a standalone, it doesn't really hold up that much. This is probably the least like grounded episode in this season, but I can sort of see the potential of there's going to be more to this story. But it's great nonetheless of having a character who's met the Doctor at a young age. It's definitely Love and Monsters sort of coded, where that character sort of met the Doctor when he was young, and he's trying to find the Doctor, and then all of a sudden there's a great big Absorbaloff creature, which I'm glad that they didn't do that route, but it definitely has that sort of feeling of this person trying to. That's the thing. I'm not really sure what he wants with the Doctor, like considering he rejects what the Doctor is all about, but he can't deny what's in front of his face. It's definitely weird. It's weird. Definitely a story for today's sort of thing of people not really believing what they're seeing and decided to go down a rabbit hole because that's more secure. But it is kind of funny that the conspiracy theory is the opposite of what real conspiracy theorists believe. Like,
that's
like
funny.
In this world, there are lizard people. There are governments trying to suppress like over all things, and that's what UNIT basically is. But to go out and say, no, I reject that reality. Life is boring. Life is tedious. There's no real magic or anything like that. It's just it's flat. So I do give props of going down that going down that sort of storyline. But yeah, Conrad's is a tit and deserves everything he gets. Yeah, I did like it, but I know there's more, and I probably appreciate it a bit more after the end of this season.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Well, I have a question for the two of you. I know, Mike, you kind of mentioned, my thoughts of Ruby Sunday suddenly leaving. Like, for me, it felt sudden, but I feel like that also comes from a place of, I'm watching older Doctor Who episodes, and those seasons are a bit longer than this. Like, these seasons are 8 episodes. And when, so they're not really as long. So I feel like it just felt really fast for her to be like, okay, the Sutek thing's done, and now Ruby's gonna go live her life. But that being said, I am wondering if it was perhaps too early for them to do this episode with Ruby. Because, yes, okay, I guess it's halfway through the season. But, we've only had 3 episodes with Belinda. We're still getting to know her, and after last week's episode, we got a good grasp. We now have a really good grasp, I think, on her and her. The friendship between her and the Doctor seems pretty good and fleshed out so far. And I don't know, they have a good rapport with each other and whatnot. But then episode 4, we're going back to Ruby. Does it feel like a response from Russell T to people being like, we want more Ruby Sunday? Or like, because we talked about obviously months ago when they were like, Millie Gibson's leaving, but then, oh wait, no, she's actually going to be in the next season. Like, there was this flip flop. I don't know. So I don't know. I feel like this episode for me would have meant more if it had come later in the season. But maybe that's just the disadvantage of having an 8 episode season instead of like a 10 or 12. Fulya, what do you think about that?
Yeah, look, I am in 2 minds of having Ruby back so soon. In one respect, it's like, yeah, like something's going on, and the Doctor is still trying to figure it out, and it's just, we need to have a moment away from them to see what's going on with Ruby and her life. But on the other hand, I'm like, we kind of just saw her not too long ago. Like, I think you might be right, Kendall, in the sense that I think it might have been too soon. This might have been a bit. I think the timing of this particular episode would have been better if it was like maybe episode 7, or not even the penultimate episode, like maybe even 6, like the one before that. Like,
yeah. I was thinking episode 6. I agree. Yeah.
But I guess they have other things that they want to, like other stories they want to tell that might be connected to this particular episode in a way, because the way that this episode kind of ended seemed like there's a bit more that we're going to get from Conrad. I don't know.
Yeah, potentially.
So, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough. Mike, what do you think? Do you think it was too soon for Ruby's return, or does this seem appropriate?
I'm in 2 minds, because with production, they knew there was going to be 2 seasons set in stone. This is what we're going to do, and if that's part of the overarching, like the 2 seasons take. Because we still don't know if this is going to be picked up for a 3rd season. So who knows? Maybe Disney will pull the plug and then the Doctor Who will revert back to being back on ABC on iView. Yay! And then we I don't know. and stuff happens. So maybe the season 1 and season 2 is kind of deliberate of being, these are 2 seasons that only take place in this part of era of Doctor Who, and then we're going to go back, and then all of a sudden it's season 14 again. And then we go back to the well. Who knows what's going to happen? So is it too early? I don't know. I think this was to set up Conrad, because I do have the inkling that he's going to turn up, considering he was let out of jail by a particular someone, and I don't know. I think it's just a very interesting where it having a doctor, what do you call it, a less Doctor Who story,
a doctorless
story, quote unquote. I might have to check on this, but I have been hearing a theory that this season is is sort of talking about is sort of the same as season 1 as well, in a way, where season 2 episode 2 was Lux, and season 2 was like Lux, and we get to see a god from the pantheon, and episode 2 of season 14 or season 1 was the Devil's Cord, where we get to see Maestro, and season 4 of this season and season 4 of season 1 was 73 yards, which was also a doctorless story as well. So I don't know. I think both seasons were in mind at the same time. So it's, I don't know what they're doing, but it's a very interesting parallel with each other, which it's kind of weird, and I'm still trying to work out why.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
And that original Doctorless story was with Ruby Sunday, so we're having a Ruby Sunday talking about it travels. So I'll keep you posted on that, because there's a little bit of a interesting theory on that, on how because of Lux, and we get to meet Doctor Who fans. I think that's just going to be a taste of what's going to happen later. And considering they don't die at the end, and everything's connected, I don't think that's going to be like let go in a way. Sorry, I'm having thoughts.
No, that's good. Thoughts are good.
These last 2
cool.
episodes are going to be weird as hell. Anyway.
Yes. Okay. So, I want to talk about Conrad. I'm kind of itching to talk about him and unpack him a bit. Because I hate him. And I also want to understand him a bit better and get your guys' opinions on him, because the main issue I had with him, well, there's 2, I guess. One is, unless he's just clearly bullshitting, but the fact that he's like trying to expose units' lies and everything, and what that entails of, like, you know, their knowledge of aliens and monsters and creatures and the Doctor and all that stuff. Conrad saw the TARDIS vanish. Conrad knows something's up. So I found that a bit weird that unless he's just trying to perpetuate his own agenda so he can, because like, you know, they tell us that he's kind of power hungry, right? He's not a good dude. He has his own agenda underneath the you know, the what were they called? The think tank, which I
The
thought
think
was
tank, yeah.
interesting interesting name for a radical group of online trolls, essentially. So that was a bit weird. And then, but then the thing that I really want to get your guys' thoughts on is the impetus for his anger towards Unit specifically seems to have come from the fact that he applied for a position, was interviewed by Kate herself, the queen she is. I love her. Was interviewed by Kate and knocked back by her, and you know she doesn't remember him immediately. That seems to be where this gripe has come from. Am I not mistaken? I think that's what the episode is trying to tell us. I feel like Conrad's taken it to the nth degree. I don't think being rejected from a job warrants you doing something like this. Like traumatizing a young woman. Ruby is never going to have a normal relationship ever again. Her love life is ruined. How is she going to be able to trust anyone? Because I fell for it. He was so genuine and sweet and sincere, and it was so wholesome. And he's like, "Oh, I'm your boyfriend." Like it was lovely. And then he turns on a fucking dime, and it was like, "Whoa, okay, this guy's actually an asshole." You know, so you know, but for him to do that, for him to perpetuate that Unit is an organization that's trying to take your money and make you believe things that aren't true, and all this bullshit, like it just, I don't know. I mean, we've seen characters like this in, you know, in sci-fi and in superhero genres before, right? Of that, you know, this is your villain origin story. But it didn't entirely work for me for what he did versus where it come from. Or otherwise it's maybe he's just too much like his mum, because his mum clearly had some attitude issues and treated him very poorly before she sadly died. But it doesn't sound like he had a good childhood either, so I guess that plays into it. But I don't know, it didn't entirely work. The means didn't justify the end, sort of thing. What do you think, Fulya? Do you think he was just an asshole, or do you think it was literally just, oh, I got rejected, I'm going to take them down? What do you think?
Fulya, is it nature versus nurture?
Wow. I don't know. I feel like the main reason why he's done all this is probably does stem from his family and his background and how he was brought up.
Yeah.
And to a point where, you know, like I don't quite understand why he just like I don't quite understand why he went to that extreme. In terms of, you know, if it was because he got rejected from a job interview, like it's a bit strange to just take a 90-degree turn from that. But I agree with you, Kendall, in the sense that I believed his innocent facade that he pretty much showed to Ruby to entice her in and bring her into his life to get, you know, her backstory on everything and trying to use that against her and Unit. It just felt weird that that's what he decided to do, because the moment that the guys in the monster costumes took off their, like, the heads of the costume and then directed at, you know, asked the question, how did we do, to Conrad, and then all of a sudden he just turns and is like, oh, you did fantastic. You know, you did great, kind of a thing. And I'm just like, huh? Like, that was my genuine reaction. I was like, what's happening right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he's like, all right, unzips his jacket, shows off the think tank message on his t-shirt. And I'm like, okay, here we go.
Yeah. My heart broke. I was just like, no.
I know. I felt like it was
Oh.
such a wonderful thing that for Ruby to be able to move on and not think about the doctor for a while, and
Yeah.
like she was able to move on from all of that, because that was the thing that was holding her down and holding her back in her life. And then she meets this guy and has what she was hoping was a relationship, like a genuine relationship, and then it just backfires on her. And I had a sneaky suspicion that something was going to happen between those two. I just didn't realize how bad it was going to be, and how long it was going to last, because it didn't seem to last very long at all, to be fair.
Yeah.
And yeah, I felt so bad for Ruby in that whole situation. And yeah, like Conrad just really rubbed me the wrong way so much.
Yeah.
It was like, it's one of those things where I hate seeing internet trolls, because I will just scroll past them, because I'm like, I am not dealing with this shit. I'm just going to move on. I don't need that negativity in my life. I'd rather not worry about that, you know? And this episode with Conrad essentially depicts all of that I don't like. And it just really irked me. And that's why I really hated the character so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. No, that's fair. Mike, what do you make of Conrad here? Do you think he was overreacting, reacting appropriately, or he's, just a douche canoe with a pretty face?
Pretty face. Speaking as the only man on this podcast, I'm going to have to defend my gender. And I think this is just another case of political agenda, putting down the man. Why does he have to be white? Why does he have to be male? Why this is just anti-man rhetoric. I mean, he's a nice guy. He said he was a nice guy. Always got to believe a nice guy when they say that he's a nice guy, because if you didn't have a nice guy, what else who else are you going to date? Huh? Meh. Meh. Now, I think this is going to upset the right amount of people and the right type of person who love cherry picking things that have no connection whatsoever. And yeah, it's basically those people. And it's like, see, it's like, yeah, we know, we hate you. Get out of our fandom. You are watching something you hate and you're complaining about it. We don't want you here. Let's talk about stuff that we do like. All right. And no, I'm not part of the wokerati. This is just going to be an interesting. It's an interesting takedown, because you can say whatever you want, like behind the scenes, like people do tend to. Like, for instance, when the Obi-Wan series started, Ewan McGregor had to come out and say, you guys are stupid. Stop saying racist shit towards against my co-actor. All right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, but when it's actually in the show, It's a lot different. It cuts more. It'll probably fall on deaf ears, but this is the sort of thing. And I think this is probably going to be an overarching thing as well. I think this is going to be the most meta thing that Doctor Who will probably ever do, and I'm glad it's just going to be these two series, and then we're going to go back to having fun. I think it's Russell T definitely airing some stuff out, because he definitely was a witness to all the Jodie Whittaker bullshit that came out.
Yeah.
And he knew casting Ncuti Gatwa is definitely going to ruffle a couple of racist feathers, of course. And these sort of people would complain of having a female doctor, would in real life complain of getting a real GP doctor. It's those sort of people.
Yeah.
And with Conrad doing what he did, sometimes you do have to say, I've heard that Doctor Who is sort of the light version of Black Mirror. It's sort of it's more of the spoonful of sugar to help the medicine go down Black Mirror, where it is dealing with real things in real life. And sometimes you have to do those sort of political takedowns with Doctor, and Conrad he does what he set out to do. So we hate him for it, and he doesn't learn at the end. It would be it'll be interesting if he does come back and they do a redemption. I don't know if they would, because considering what happens at the end, and it's sort of with the first episode as well. It's with Belinda's almost fiance, and him being the nice guy as well. So there's definitely a sort of overarching against the nice guy trope, which I don't mind. You don't have people who call themselves nice guys shouldn't call yourself nice guys if you don't follow on with the actions with that. I would never call myself a nice guy. Sometimes I'm a real prick when it comes down to it. But and this is sort of the against the Maniverse and all this, and it's definitely leading towards a more political side of where some young men are falling into these cracks and not really finding their way. And how do you combat that? It's still a thing to sort of tackle. I mean, I'm glad that I was born at a time where I didn't really have internet, and I would fall into those traps because my upbringing as well, not really having a dad and not really having a positive male role model. I'm so happy that I am what I am now, Popeye. I am what I am, and I'm more than willing to help my son into what is to be a man, someone who can be vulnerable as well as emotional, and actually have the wherewithal to actually tackle that sort of thing. So, in a way, I think this is sort of a story that needs to be told, and as well as it's the show. So I don't know. I'm still coming to terms if they're going to do a redemption story with Conrad. Maybe, because my firm belief is anyone can be salvageable, even though some people look like they can't be salvaged.
Mm.
Damn, got to find the goodness in people somehow, and I think that's what the Doctor should do. Like, can't really write off so many people. Anyway, that's my rant. Welcome to my TED Talk.
No, it was really great. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right, well, let's lighten things up a bit. You know, for all my talk of maybe it was too soon to bring Ruby back, it was nice to see her, and I feel like Mila Gibson has really settled into this character now. Like, you know, for me, she took a bit of getting used to because she's so young, and you know, it was a different beginning of a new era for Doctor Who last year. And now seeing her come back, I'm like, oh no, I like her, and you know, getting to catch up with her and where she's at in her life, and the fact that, you know, she's still in contact with her real mum, and she's got her, you know, her foster mum and grandma and all of that stuff. So it was nice to see them again. But yeah, I don't know. For me, it was sad to see that she was, you know, led on in this way. But it was also good to see that she clearly had those like a moment of heartbreak. You know, we see when she's watching Conrad on the news, and then she's, you know, curling up into the arms of, you know, her family, who's, you know, consoling her, like, you know, because it was really cute to see them so happy, like, you know, taking photos of her in the hallway when she's going out on her date, and like that was really sweet. And then yeah, it all comes crashing down. But then also for her to be so badass in the finale, like holding her own alongside Kate and everyone at Unit, at the end, I thought was really good. You know, I really am liking Ruby more and more as a character, as she goes along. And you know, she's so young. You know, she's so young. And I love how, you know, she has another sort of foster mother figure in Kate as well. Like their relationship is really cool to see. You know, getting stronger as time goes on. But yeah, Ruby's really good, and I'm looking forward to, you know, I'm guessing she's gonna come back again. And I look forward to seeing her and Belinda interacting, and what that dynamic's gonna look like, and how that's all gonna go. But yeah, Fulya, thoughts on Ruby Sunday's return this episode?
Yeah, it was actually quite nice to see her after a little while, and being able to see what she's going through as well, you know, with her life post the Doctor. Um, and yeah, like I had no idea that, like, I mean, it makes sense that she's got like a direct line straight to Kate, you know, whenever something happens, which was really interesting. And yeah, no, like it was really nice to see her again. I'm not like yeah, I don't really have much else to really say, but yeah, no, it was good to see her.
Yeah, nice. Now, there's not a lot to really unpack, you know, because her
Yeah.
story this episode is very much tied in with Conrad. So
Yeah,
we
pretty
talk
much.
about Conrad, you're pretty much getting all of Ruby. So
Yeah.
that's fine. Mike, did you have any thoughts on Ruby Sunday's return?
Always glad to have a previous companion to come back every now and again, just to ground the universe really, and see where they are. Yeah, I can't really add too much. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I mentioned earlier, you know, and I say it every time, I love Kate Lethbridge Stewart. She's wonderful. And I love seeing her, you know, just take command and take charge. And she really got to be like, I don't know, kind of go to a place I don't think we've really seen her go to, like when she's tearing shreds off Conrad at the end there. And like be like, you wanted the truth, get ready for the truth. Like she was willing to let the actual shriek out to attack him, you know, just to prove a point. And you know, I think everyone else around her was kind of a bit like, whoa, this is this is a dark Kate we're seeing. But I thought it was good. Like, because you know what, he insulted her father, and I was like, even I was watching this, and I was just like, oh, that's a low blow. Like, how dare you? How fucking dare you? So I kind of don't blame Kate for going off as badass as she did, but yeah, she was really cool. And you know, we got that little moment near the beginning of her and Sergeant Sexy. What was that his nickname we used to call him last season?
Nicknamed by the
two of-
fans, but yeah.
Nicknamed by the fans, but yes, his real name, of course, is Colonel Christopher Ibrahim. Colonel Ibrahim. Nice to see him back as well. And just like, you know, Kate being like, yeah, I like working late. I don't mind. You know,
I think they've got a little thing going on.
Yeah, I
So
think
do,
so.
yeah.
It's I love it. I'm here for it. I'm so here for, you know, an older woman and a younger man. It's, you know, we don't really see it very often, so it's really nice. So that was cool, and it was good to see Shirley again. She's just excellent as well. I like her dynamic here amongst the unit crew. So yeah, unit were great, but it was interesting that Conrad was also able to get inside the premises that easily. I mean, I know he's probably a little bit tech savvy, but I don't know. I found that a bit. I feel like he took a unit down a bit too easily. But
He had an insider's source.
he did.
Yeah.
But
Did he though?
it all just I don't know. It just all felt a bit convenient.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. I think it's Ruby's fault.
Well, yeah, Ruby. I mean, you know, he
Didn't
tricked
really
her
do a
very
background check on this guy. Her nan did a plenty of background check on his Insta.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Social stalking.
Yeah. Fulya, do you have any thoughts on Unit this episode and how they were portrayed?
Like again, it was nice to see them pop up again, be more sort of part of the story a bit more. And yeah, I agree in the sense that Conrad had access to getting into the facility a little too easily. It just I don't know why Jordan was helping him, who was the person from the inside. But then, he didn't have much time left on his clock because he got shot by Conrad. Like, it's just a bit weird, you know. It was. Yeah, I don't know. Don't really have much else to say, but
no,
yeah.
that's okay. That's okay. Mike, do you have any unit thoughts? Any Kate Lethbridge Stewart thoughts?
It's always great to have Unit back because it's been a main player since the 70s, and I didn't like him making reference to the Brigadier. Like, speaking as a classic Who myself, I was going to go all Will Smith on him. Keep Alistair's name out your fucking mouth. So I don't blame Kate doing that, but the Doctor wasn't there, so when the Doctor's not there, Unit comes to play.
Yeah, just like how Kate was like, I'm glad the Doctor's not here, so I can do this, and etc. etc. Yeah, it was great.
But he does get bitten.
He does.
What happens? Does he turn into one of them? I mean, he's got a little ring.
Hey, why is this like a full-on bracelet around the wound? So, but it was like from the front of his arm, like chomping down, not necessarily like what happened. Did they amputate his arm and give him a new one or something? Like,
well, to me, it kind of looked like a tourniquet, like they were trying to stop something.
Yeah, that's true. That was my other thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. It's just weird that it's like around the whole thing and not where the wound is.
Yeah.
So, to which we don't actually see one. So don't know what wibbly wobbly thing is happening there in terms
No.
of healing, but you know.
But speaking of wibbly wobbly, shall we talk about the ending here with the doctor?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yes.
He doesn't cry in this one. Yay.
He doesn't cry. I know. Yep, no tears from the doctor. We actually
No.
get to see the doctor
Anger.
get angry this
Yeah.
episode.
Time Lord
Yes,
Victorious.
Time Lord Victorious comes out a bit. It's great to see. I really love this scene. I love seeing Shooty kind of letting the anger come out a bit and not being the super sensitive doctor that we've gotten used to. Like he still has this temper, this darker side to him underneath it all. So him talking to Conrad the whole time, and you know, it's just it was kind of like a conversation of like showing Conrad what he's missed out on because he chose to be a prick, basically. You know, like for him to be a kid and get the coin from the doctor, and I mean he stole it, I guess, but it was offered to him, and just kind of use that, but then use it and twist it in a way that, you know, he used it against Ruby and this whole thing. But it was just cool. It was just also really cool. Like I love when the doctor gets to come out and be defensive and protective of his companions, like they're his family and stuff. Like, you know, he tells him, you hurt someone that I care about, you know, you hurt my friend. And you know, and it was just, I don't know, it was just a really great scene. And Mike, you were talking earlier about Conrad and, you know, redemption or, you know, any kind of remorse. Like I didn't expect him to, and so when he didn't, I'm kind of glad that he stuck to his guns. I mean, I kind of wanted, part of me did kind of want him to, you know, have a moment of clarity and go, okay, I fucked up. But I feel like he was in too deep before he even got to that scene with everything he'd done. I feel like it's going to take a lot to, if he is redeemable, which I don't think he is, it's going to take a lot for him to get there. So I kind of like that he just stuck to being the dirtbag, and that whole statement of, I reject you, Doctor, I reject what you stand for and what you're saying. Like the fact that the doctor gets so angry that he's like, you're going to die in a prison cell, you know, at like age 49 or whatever he says, and it's going to be awful and blah blah blah. Like you're not even a footnote in history. Like no one's going to remember you. Everything you did will count for nothing. Like the doctor really just goes there, and then Conrad doesn't even let it get to him. I mean, it probably does, but he doesn't show it. You know, he's just like, nah, that's not gonna happen. I'm gonna make my own future, and we'll see. And then of course Mrs. Flood shows up and is like, here you go. You can get out now and just have your own fate. Fulya, what did you think of the ending here with the doctor showing up a bit pissed off?
Well, it was good to sort of, like, it's not great seeing the doctor angry, but when we do get to see him angry, you get to see the acting chops of the actor playing the doctor. And in this regard, Shooty did a great job of portraying that anger. And you can kind of see the anger that, like, it kind of reminded me of the different iterations of the Doctor and how they got angry as well. And it's almost like similar in a way. Like they've got like they've got their defenses are up. They're upset about what has just happened, and especially when someone they care about is hurt, you see that temper rise up. It's like, how dare you do this to my friend, or, you know, to the person that I really care, to my companion. And it was really, really, I like the fact that he gets angry because it shows that he's passionate about something, you know, and he really cares. So the fact that he cares about Ruby, the fact that he also cares about the Earth and the humans that live on it, you know, he's trying to protect this Earth, this planet, and douchebags like Conrad come along and go to ruin it, you know. So it was just it was a nice change of pace to see the Doctor getting mad about something rather than sad from what we've seen a lot happen. And yeah, so it was interesting. It just reminded me of the other times that the Doctor has been mad in the past, and when they get mad, they get really mad. Like they're almost blowing their top off mad, like, and it shows. So yeah, no, it was I like that scene. That scene was good, but it still frustrated me that Conrad decided to respond the way that he did. And it's like, well, this guy is not going to change. And like there's no way
No.
he's changing at all. If this is the way that his mind is, it's just set in its way at a young age, it's not going to change for a very long time at all, unless something bad happens to him that's going to bite him in the ass, even worse than what has already happened, you know. So rather than biting on his arm. So yeah, it was just one of those scenes where it was a great scene just watching it all play out. And yeah, I don't know. I like it when the Doctor's mad, but I like, obviously I don't prefer him being angry. I prefer
No.
him being happy and excited. Especially when he's, you know, figuring out his own little puzzles. But when he's mad and you see it, it's like, oh, you really don't want to be in his bad books. You really don't.
No.
Yeah.
No, 100%. 100%. All right. Thank you, Fulya. Mike, take us home. How did this final scene with the Doctor and Conrad go for you?
I'm happy that there's more to this Doctor than just being juvenile or being sad. And we've seen brief glimpses of his anger, but this is definitely up the scale of being angry and just downright like, I can do stuff. And considering all the Doctors that we have seen like do this, like probably the most angry is probably David Tennant's 10 and probably 14, but 14 is different from 10, so but definitely. And yeah, you don't want to be on the wrong side of the Doctor, considering. And yeah, and considering the Doctor being a being that actually knows and goes into your future and actually tells you what's going to happen to you, that's pretty cold, even for even for the Doctor's standard. Yeah. And is it true? I don't know. We'll never know. But Conrad doesn't care. It's like, I'm sticking to my truths, and I'm rejecting your reality. Okay. And then a flood happens. That's why I'm thinking he'll be coming back.
Yeah. Cool.
It's a good story. Good story.
Yep. All right. That's it.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts? Well, I think we're done. I think we covered everything.
Yep. Next week's episode is the story and the engine.
What's going on there?
What did it do? What is that?
What did it do? I've already forgotten the teaser, so that's helpful.
We're going to Oh. We're going to an African nation, so it's going to.
That's
take
right.
place.
Yes. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be cool. That'll be fun.
And you like the villain, or maybe a villain. It's a giant spider.
Oh yeah, that's right. There was a giant spider in.
That's why she blocked it out of her brain.
That's yeah.
Nope.
Nope. Let's put a
Nope.
pin in that.
I saw the giant spider. I'm like, why?
More spiders. We need more
Come on.
spiders.
I don't
You
need
have
it. We're
to do
getting it in
that.
freaking Andor. Now we gotta get it back in freaking Doctor Who. We already had a spider story, like some time ago.
Well,
with Doctor Who.
well. Speaking of spiders and The Last of Us,
Huh?
is there spiders in The Last of Us?
Better not be.
Giant spiders?
The only thing I know is infected and bloated and clickers.
Maybe there's giant spiders.
Don't do this to us.
Only I know if I'm lying or not.
I hate you.
I can't
Spoilers,
believe
there
you've
isn't.
done this.
Okay.
Oh, am I lying?
Fantastic.
Stop it!
Stop it! Okay, let's wrap it up there, shall we? That was our popcorn culture. Our thoughts on the 4th episode of this season of Doctor Who. I've forgotten the name of the episode already.
Lucky day.
Lucky Day, thank you. I'm getting tired and hungry. Lucky Day. Yes, hope you guys enjoyed. And that was an epic podcast. All of the reviews, all of the nerdy stuff, all of the spoilers.
Hope
That
you
was
all enjoyed
fun.
it.
Yes, thanks for listening and watching if you have chosen to do so. We appreciate it very much. Until next week, a 1, a 2, a 3, and
that
was a podcast.
was a podcast
called
Fred. Play music. Doom.
Remember to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky for the latest free content.
If you'd like to listen to Fred the Alien, you can find us on SoundCloud, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts.
If you'd like to watch Fred the Alien, you can head over to youtube.com/Fred the Alien Productions. And if you're watching the video right now, make sure to like it, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to be notified of future content. And if you're watching us live over on Twitch, make sure to give us a follow on the way out. Twitch.tv/Fred the Alien Twitch. Yeah.
I've been a Kendall Richardson.
I've been a Fulya and Michael.
And I've been the spider with a message in its butt, Michael Lister.
And
you just
experienced
a
a
podcast,
podcast called Fred. Transition.
To eat beef.
Remember, Freddy lives, Loki dies, the Doctor is in, and we can build this thing together. I can't remember that song from the Thunderbirds.
And speaking of, remember to look after yourself and your mental health, everyone.
Yes.
Yes.
Tame
Thank you
that
once
void.
again for watching. Thanks for listening. Laters, gators.
And
See.
see.